Hello, everyone, and good morning to you. If you can see my screen and you can hear my voice, kindly type in hi in the comment section so that I can be aware that we are all on the same page before we get this party started. Okay, good morning, 7071. Thank you for that confirmation. All right, 56565. Good morning to you. Can I get one more confirmation to be rest assured that we are good to go? Oh, all right. Okay. Thank you, Ashitaka. Good morning. 474. Good morning. Mark Tan. Good morning. I hope you're all doing well. So let's get this party started. So I want to welcome you all to yet another promising session of Extra and Speed Live, hosted by my humble self, Sheriff Daramola. As usual, I will be taking you on a trading journey in the next 1 hour, where we shall be evaluating the financial market using technical parameters to identify trading opportunities lining up for the New York session today. And as usual, on Monday mornings like this, what we normally do is to really don't have a headway yet, but we are going to be taking the most important pairs we normally take, the US Tech and the US Oil. Then we're going to be looking at random major pairs that we want to be looking at this week. After which, the following days, we now do follow-up details on the pair chosen on Monday. And if you have any pair you want us to look at, feel free to drop it in the comment section and I will try as much as possible to inculcate it into my plans for today. And for those who are joining us for the first time, you're welcome on board and I hope you stay tuned in till the end of the session so that you don't miss out on the ideas and opportunities we shall be sharing here on the platform. So without further ado, let's dive into the chart and let's see what is happening. Okay, Ashitaka wants us to do Ethereum USD. Okay, I would inculcate that into our plans. I'm penning that down right now. So so we have ETHUSD, right? Okay, we'll look at that. Then Wells, all right. 447, good morning, all right. Okay, so let's dive into the chart. The first pair we are going to be looking at as usual is the US oil. And what do we have here on the US oil? Well, the first thing we want to be doing here is to have an holistic perspective of what is really happening in this market, after which we want to be using whatever we've identified on the higher time frame to determine or to have an informed decision of how to trade this pair this week. Remember, we've been following this pair for quite some time now, and this is going to be something like a follow-up detail of whatever we had on this pair. And also, if you are new, don't be worried, as I will try as much as possible to break it down to your understanding. So now if we go up into the daily time frame, what is the first thing we are going to observe here on the daily time frame? So let's reset this chart and let's see what we have here. Okay, so on the daily time frame, the first thing we're going to observe here is that price has been on a very strong bullish momentum since in the last 2 years rather. So we have been witnessing a bullish momentum on the US oil, and this is evident after connecting the series of higher lows to give us this result and bullish trend line that we were able to identify here on the daily time frame. Now, if we zoom closely into what has been happening in the last 7 to 8 weeks, now we can see that price rejected this bullish trend line one more time around this area before we saw something that appears more interesting as price breaks down and retests that bullish trend line to give us a signal that a bearish momentum is imminent at that point in time. So with the current structure we have here, how do we intend to take advantage of this bullish momentum, of any potential opportunity on the US oil? We don't know if it's going to be a bullish momentum this week or it's going to be a selling momentum. So what we want to be doing first of all is to understand what has happened since the breakdown of that bullish trend line. So if I zoom into the current structure here and look at how price action has been in the last 2 weeks, the first thing we are going to observe here is that price action has been caught within a descending channel since the later part of the month of August. As we can see, price came into the structure. We saw something that looks like a false breakout of that channel. Then price came back into the channel, and then we can see price has continued to respect this channel. And we can see since the beginning of the early hours of today, we saw our price appears to be going back into the resistant level of this channel. So now going into the new week, going into the New York session today, we are going to be laying more emphasis on what is going to be happening around the resistant point of this descending channel. Now, before we do that, one thing I also want to share with you is this. We can see that we had the breakdown retest of the structure during the late days of the month of August, the early days of the month of September. We saw the breakdown retest of that strong bullish trend line that has been holding price action supported in the last 2 years, like I showed you earlier. And that is more or less a signal, because when price breaks down such a very significant trend line like that, which has been holding price action for such a long time, then we need to take a conscious look at what is happening. And now, if we look at this from a technical standpoint, we always expect that when price action breaks down a structure like this, we want to see a retest of structure to give us further confirmation of a trend continuation in the direction of the breakdown of structure. So if we see this move right now, there is a likelihood that price will come back into the structure, where we will be looking out for patterns on lower time frame to support a trend continuation to the downside. But before we can be thinking that price is going to come back into this bullish trend line, we really need to see and understand how the structure is going to be like right at the resistance point of this descending channel. So to do that, we need to scale down to a much lower time frame. Let's see what is happening on the 4 hours time frame. If we could see a structure there, we'll use that as our yardstick going into the new week. Now we are right on the 4 hours time frame. What are we going to be looking out for? Well, you can now see that the hold on a second. I'm not sure why my okay. Sorry, hold on a second. I'm trying to adjust my charts here because I don't like the way it looks. Okay, so right now you can see that it is now very evident the descending channel we were able to identify on the daily time frame. As you can see how price has consistently found lower lows and lower highs within this channel to give us a clue that the bearish momentum is strong at this point. And we can see our price has consistently respected that channel. And during the course of last week trading session, we saw the breakdown of that channel a little bit, which transports into probably a double bottom structure that sent price back into the channel. So let's see, like I said on the daily time frame, we want to see what is going to be happening within the resistance point at this area. Now, if we scale down to the 1 hour time frame and let us see how participants in the market have been conducting activities during the early hours of today, Now, before I do that, I think there is something I also want to share with you here. I think we have a key level at the $85 mark, which I've not yet, I didn't explain. I think we already have this key level since last week, which has been guiding our action since last week. You can see right above the $85 mark here we have, let me bring out so let's put it at the right hand side here, the bottom of the right hand side. So we have this $85 level. Let me show you how important that level is in the past. If we go back into the daily time frame, this is what we have here. We can see how this level at the $85 mark has been a major determinant of price action. We can see what happened here in the month of October stroke the month of November 2021, how the sellers took advantage of this $85 mark to sell the US oil, leading right back into the bullish trend line. Then we saw the breakout retest of the $85 level. Price moved to the upside from this point, and since the month of June we have seen a retracement back into that $85 level. And one thing we will observe here is this: we can see that the $85 level has been a major support level, major buying niche for participants in this market, and price came back into this area. So one thing we also want to take into consideration is this: since we saw the breakdown of the key level here, we're obviously going to be thinking, okay, fine, this is going to be a signal for a bearish momentum. However, there is a likelihood that this area could be, this breakdown could be a false one, as we can see that price is right back above the $85 level. So I needed to share this with you so that we can have a better perspective of what I'm talking about when I begin to break things down on the lower time frame. So let me delete this so that we can have a clean chart. All right, so let's go back to the 1 hour time frame. I hope you understand what I've explained there on the daily time frame. So right now we are back on the 1 hour time frame. So now there are two things we want to be looking at on the 1 hour time frame. Let me bring this key level closer to our view. Let's have it right around. Okay, it's good, $85 level. So now remember, like I shared with you on the 4 hours time frame, that we are within an ascending channel here on the 4 hours time frame. And if you look at the structure here, remember I made mention that we want to see how price is going to relate with this resistance level. That is one. And then we can see that price is right back above that key level at the $85 mark, giving us a clue that price is going back into a bullish momentum. So with the structure we have here on the 1 hour time frame, the next thing we want to be doing is to identify what has been happening since last week. We can see price, since price tested the $81 area, we have seen that price has continued to find higher highs and higher lows to give us a clue into a possible bullish momentum. So what I want to be doing here is to connect the series of higher lows to give us that resultant bullish trend line, which is going to be one of the parameters that we are going to be using to guide our action this week. So now with a bullish trend line identified here, I want to make this a little emphatic. So we want to thicken it a little bit. So let me make it 3. All right. So we have a bullish trend line. So coupled with the key level at $85 mark, we have a bullish trend line to guide our action this week. So right now, the next question we're going to be asking ourselves is this: is price going to continuously respect this bullish trend line? As you can see, price has been doing that since last week. We have seen price respect that bullish trend line. So now going into the new week right now, so what we want to see is price going to respect that bullish trend line one more time to push price to the upside, or are we going to be having a breakdown of that bullish trend line where price comes back into the ascending channel to send price going to the downside? Now, if we look at the structure here, since the beginning of the week, price started the week at around the $87. Hold on a second. Around the $86, is it $87 area? We saw price started the week here. Price came to do multiple rejection of that bullish trend line, which also shares a confluence with the $85 mark area before we saw this bullish momentum that took price out of the previous structure at this point. So could this be a signal that a bullish momentum is valid at this juncture in the market? That is the breakout of this channel that began this week. Breakout of this channel, does this mean that a bullish signal has come? And if this is going to be a bullish signal, well, what I want to be seeing is a breakout of the resistant level of the descending channel we identified on the higher time frame. Then I want to be waiting for confirmation to happen in the form of a retest of a structure which appears to share a confluence with the bullish trend line we identify here. Then we look out for patterns on lower time frame to join the rally to the upside. So to guide our action for this bullish momentum on the US oil here, what I want to be doing is to identify a level that we want to be using as our yardstick for any bullish momentum here on the US oil. So if we bring out our line chart at this point and then we identify structures in the past that has been a major determinant of bullish momentum, we can see that the $86.50 area, somewhere around that point, we can see what happened here during the course of last week trading session. It was a demand niche, then this area also became a supply. You can see what I'm talking about. This area is a very significant level. So what I want to be doing is to connect this level and using this level as the second. Let's have it right around here. So we have somewhere around here. So I'll give this a green so that we can differentiate it from the major key level we identified earlier. So right now we already have a breakout of that structure and price is continuing to go to the upside. So if you had actually missed this move, we still have another opportunity based on the current structure here in such a way that we'll be looking forward to price coming back into this level at the $86.50 area, where we want to be looking out for patterns on lower time frame that will support a trend continuation to the upside. So I want to label this so that we can have a better perspective. So we have this area at $86.50. So this is what we have here. Let's place it right on the top right hand side of our screen. So we have right at the $86 level has our yardstick going into the new week for any bullish momentum. So we want to be seeing this area has a buy zone. So anywhere right above the $86 area seems most appropriate to be in a bullish position on the US oil. So what I'm looking forward to during the new week, during the New York session today, is this. We want to see how price is going to relate with this level. If we have an outright breakout of that level, this confirms that we are going bullish. So what we want to be doing is we don't want to get too excited at the sight of that breakout. That's just a signal. It will turn out to be a false one. So we want to be patient enough to wait for price action to give us further confirmation, which is likely going to come in form of the retest of either the bullish trend line here, that is the purple line I was able to identify here, or the key level at the $86.50 area, after which we look out for patterns on lower time frame that will support a trend continuation to the upside. So now that we've identified a buying setup to take advantage of here on the US oil, where will our take profit target be? Well, if we look at the structure we have on the daily time frame, let me show you what we have on the daily time frame. The first area we want to be placing our take profit target zone should be somewhere around the bullish trend line here. Remember, we have this bullish trend line which has been holding price action in the last 2 years, and we saw the breakdown of the bullish trend line during the early days of this month. We saw the breakdown, so it's likely that price is going to come back and do a retest of that bullish trend line. We don't know if it's going to break above, or we are going to be having a retest of that level to push price to the downside. So what we want to be doing is this. We don't want to be too over ambitious, so our take profit target is going to be somewhere around the bullish trend line here, where we want to see how price is going to relate to that level. So our take profit target should fall somewhere around the $92 area and the $91 or $90 area. So let's go back to the 1 hour time frame and see where our take profit target is going to be if we have our position right around this area. So between the $90 area, which will give us around 330 pips, and the $92 area, which will give us a maximum of about 540 pips to catch here. So what we are still waiting forward to is a retracement. That is, if you had missed this move right from the breakout of the structure here, then we want to wait for price to come back to do a retest of structure, where we want to be looking forward to a trend continuation to the upside from this point. So that is how we want to trade the US oil. If you have any question regarding this, please quickly let me know. Now, the other scenario we could be looking forward to is this. Now that we have two parameters to guide our bullish momentum here on the US oil, that is the bullish trend line we identified here. Then we have the $86.50 level. Then what is going to be happening if we see a breakdown of both the structure, that is price breaks down this bullish trend line and this $86.50 area? So if this is what's going to be happening during the New York session today, that is price breaks down the structure, then we want to be seeing this as a signal that a bearish momentum will be coming in. That is, price is going to be respecting that descending channel one more time. Remember, we are still within the descending channel we identified on the 4 hours time frame. So if we have a breakdown of that bullish trend line, then definitely that's giving us a sign that price is probably still going bearish. Remember, we don't want to get too excited at the sight of the signal. We want to wait for price to give us further confirmation, which is likely going to come in form of a retest of the $86.50 level, or probably the bullish trend line or the resistant level of the descending channel, after which we can join the decline to the downside. So this is how we want to take advantage of any potential opportunity on the US oil this week. So for those who have actually joined this bullish momentum at this point, and considering the long-term bearish momentum we have here on the US oil, I'll be advising you to move your stop loss to break even at this point. Somewhere around the $86.50 will be most appropriate to lock in some profit, so that you don't get caught up within sudden pullback. So we're still within a bearish trend line. Sorry, we're still within a descending channel, which is bearish on a long-term perspective. So we want to see an outright breakout of this resistant level to be comfortable in a bullish momentum. Then if a breakout happens, we wait for price to give us confirmation in the form of a retest of the structure. So that's how we want to trade the US oil. If you have any question whatsoever regarding what I've just discussed so far, feel free to drop your inquiries in the comment section, and I will be taking the next 10 to 15 seconds to read through the chat to see if there are any questions, and if there are none, we shall be moving on to the next pair. So what do we have here? All right, hello 651 602 353, good boy 89, good morning to you. So good morning everyone, good morning everyone. Oh, Steamroller, how are you doing today? Good morning to you. I'm very well, thank you, and I trust you're doing well as well. All right, I'm good, happy to be here to hear your thoughts. Okay, glad you're around as well. AUDUSD is looking bullish. Well, I think so. Yes, most of the USD pairs, most of the USD pairs are looking bullish today, because I think the USD is going to drop momentum, but we don't know. We still have some major events in the week that is likely going to affect the price movement for this week. We'll be looking at it anyway. I'm looking at some major pairs where I'll be sharing with you today. So if you have the time, I'd like to hear your talk. Okay, no problem. I'll put that down, AUDUSD. So we'll look at that as well. So 359, good morning to you. How are you doing today? Trust you're doing well. Caroline's Carl 1984, good morning to you. How are you doing? Hi, thanks. I don't have experience in this. Okay, sure. If you don't have experience, just stay tuned in, be with us, and you'll get to understand how things run around here. Okay. Pakistan is asking which country I'm from. Well, I'm from Nigeria, the western part of Africa. That is where I'm from. Okay. So let's move on to the next pair. I think there are no questions. I want to see that as a confirmation that what I've explained so far was well understood. So the next pair we are going to be looking at is the US tech. So let's see what is happening on the US tech and how we intend to take advantage of any trading opportunity on the US tech. Geopoker, good morning to you. All right, so let's see what's happening on the US tech. Remember, we've been on a very profitable position on the US tech. In the last 3 weeks, we were able to take advantage of the bearish momentum that started from around the $13,500 mark. Hope you all remember. We took the move right from this point. Hold on a second, let me show you. Right from 13,500 here, we took the move right into this point, and we've been enjoying some bullish momentum since last week right into this area. So now, going into the new week, how do we intend to join any potential opportunity here? Well, for the sake of those who have not been with us since the we started the analysis on the US tech, I want to scale up to the daily time frame so that I can give you a quick preview of what we have on the US tech before we go on to um, deliberate on our expectations for today. Let me allow my cat out, please. Hold on a second. Okay, I'm right back in. And the first thing we observe here on the US tech is definitely price has been on a very strong bearish momentum since the beginning of the year, and this is evident after identifying that bearish trend line, which was done after connecting the series of lower highs. There you can see how price has consistently respected that bearish trend line, though we had a false breakout at this point, and immediately price came right below that trend line. We joined that decline 2 weeks ago. I think 3 weeks ago we joined that decline from that point. So this is one thing we are going to be using to be our yardstick going into the future. But before we do that, one thing we also want to see here is that since the mid month of June, we saw our price has consistently respected this ascending channel. We can see how price respected this ascending channel in the last couple of months, though we saw a breakout of that ascending channel here, which appears to be a false one, as price came back into the channel, and then we saw price move right back into the neckline area at around the $12,000 point, which is also a very strong psychological level considering the round figure of this price. Now, how did we identify this neckline? How did we get to the point that we are calling the $12,000 the neckline area? That's a very good question. What we saw here in the month of June was a reversal pattern. We saw a demand zone here. We saw price movement in such a way that it evolved into a reversal pattern. We saw the first touch here. We saw the second touch of that demand zone here, which led into the breakout of that structure. So when we see this is more or less like a double bottom structure, we saw the breakout of the structure, a retest of the neckline at this point, and we saw this bullish move to the upside, and then price appears to be coming back into that neckline area. And if you look at what happened during the later part of, I think 2 weeks ago, we saw what happened during the early days of the month. We saw our price rejected this neckline area, the $12,000 area. We saw multiple rejection of that level, giving us a clue into the strength of the buyers at this point in the market. So we saw the multiple rejection here. We saw the first one, second one, third one, fourth one, then the fifth one resulted into an engulfing candle, which was the move we took last week. We took this move last week right above the $12,400 area. So now that is what we have here on the daily time frame, and the next thing we did is to scale down to the 4 hours time frame, where we begin to see perspective from a short-term view. Now this is where the breakdown of the ascending channel happened. It happened here. And remember, from a technical standpoint like this, whenever we see a breakdown of structure, we always expect price to come back and do a retest of that structure. Now, this is the breakdown of the ascending channel. Remember the ascending channel we identified on the daily time frame. There was a breakdown retest of that ascending channel here. Then the bearish trend line we identified on the daily time frame also, we saw price come back into the bearish trend line here. Hold on. We saw price come back into the bearish trend line here. Now look at the bearish trend line. Price is right at the bearish trend line. Can you see what I'm talking about here? Price is right around that bearish trend line, and at the same time price is right at the support level of the ascending channel we identified on the daily time frame. you can see how important this area is right now. So what we want to be looking forward to is to wait to see how price is going to relate with this level here. That is somewhere around between the $12,600 area and the $12,800 area to make a decision on this one. So let's see how price is going to relate here. Remember, we want to be patient. Even when we see signals, we want to be patient enough to wait for confirmations to happen before we join the direction where price is leading us to. So right now we are at a confluence. Breakdown of the resistance point here. Let me show you. Let me give you a visual representation of what I'm talking about. So we saw the breakdown of the rest of the ascending channel. Price came to the $12,000 area. Then price comes back into the support level of the ascending channel here. So what we want to be looking forward to is this. I'm very sure where price comes within this kind of area, what we want to be seeing is we are going to be seeing a long consolidation phase around this area, because there's a likelihood that there will be an indecision at this point in the market where we would either be looking forward to a trend continuation to the downside, that is price continue to respect that bearish trend line on the daily time frame, or we could be having a breakout of that trend line in such a way that price breaks out that trend line to give us a signal, and at the same time goes right back within the ascending channel, and this could probably send price going to the upside. So we are at a very critical level at this point. So what I want to be doing here is to identify a level that is going to be our yardstick for this week. So what I will be doing now is to bring out my line chart, and then we want to connect a level that we want to be using as our yardstick going forward. So we have somewhere around the $12,600 area. So allow me to label this point so that we can have a visual understanding of what we are talking about here. So we have the $12,600 level. Let me give this a, so I think I will have to delete this one. Let's delete this one. So we have the 12,600. Okay, I think we are good like that. So we have the $12,600 to guide our action for the week. So how does this $12,600 level guide our actions this week? Now, if we see price right above this $12,600 area, you can see is right above that bullish trend, that bearish trend line we identified on the daily time frame. Remember, this is the bearish trend line. I'm trying to make sure that we understand this is the bearish trend line we identified on the daily time frame. So if we see price right above that $12,600 area, then we want to see this as bullish for the week. So we want to be looking forward to bullish setup right above that bullish trend line. So that will happen when we see a signal, we see a breakout of that bearish trend line. That's a signal. We are not getting too excited. Then price comes back to give us a confirmation in the form of a retest of structure. Then on lower time frame, we join the rally to the upside. That's how we want to trade a bullish opportunity on the US tech. However, if price breaks down the $12,600 mark, that is, we see price breaks down that $12,600 mark, then we want to be looking forward to selling opportunities on this one. And if price breaks down that key level, you can see that it's right under the bearish trend line we identified on the daily time frame. You see the breakdown of the bearish trend line. Price breaks down the bearish trend line, breaks down the ascending channel, then a retest of the ascending channel here could likely send price crashing to the downside at this point. So if that happens, we want to be selling the US tech. So now that we've identified the structure on the 4 hours time frame, what we want to be doing is to see how participants has been relating with this level since the beginning of the week. So remember, the week is still fresh and new. So we want to go down to the 1 hour time frame to see how participants have been relating to this zone. So going down to the 1 hour time frame here, remember this is our key level. Let me bring this closer so that we can see. So remember, this is our key level here, 12,600, I guess. Okay, so we have our key level here. So what happened since the beginning of the week? So what we saw here is this. We saw a gap. That is, there was there was a rise in price. We saw a gap. Then price rejected the $12,680 level, came to as far the $12,570 area. Then price came back again to this area. So what you can see here is price is caught within a consolidation phase. Remember I told you on the 4 hours time frame, on the daily time frame, that we are going to see a consolidation phase around this area. And when we see a consolidation phase like this, it only tells us that there is an indecision in this market right now, and participants are actually waiting for a catalyst that would give them a signal to take advantage of wherever the potential opportunity is. So right now this is what we have right now. We have this right between the 12,680 and the $12,580 area. We have seen a consolidation right now. So what we are waiting for is a signal which could likely come in form of the breakdown of the structure. And if we have a breakdown of the structure, we want to wait for price to give us further confirmation in the form of a retest of structure. It could be the retest of the $12,600 level, which is our key level for this week, or the bullish trend line, the support level of the ascending channel, after which look out for patterns on lower time frame to join the decline. So that is one scenario. Then the other scenario is price continues to the upside, breaking out of that bearish trend line we identified on the daily time frame. Then we wait for confirmation in the form of a retest of structure. It could be the retest of the 12,650 or the bullish trend line here, which is the support level of the ascending channel we identified on the daily time frame. Or price will come to as far as the $12,600 area, probably a sharp rejection. But what most important thing we want to see is a reversal pattern or structures that supports a trend continuation from this point. So this is how we want to trade the US tech this week. So we want to be on standby to be able to take advantage of whatever potential opportunity comes up during the New York session or during this week. So with this setup identified now, where will our take profit target be? Well, for selling momentum right now, if we see a breakdown of the $12,600 area, then we want to be looking at somewhere between the 12,200 and the neckline area at $12,000 as our first take profit target, because we have structures around this area to use to guide our action. Now, if price breaks above that bearish trend line and continue to the upside, where will our take profit target be? Well, we have a structure around here. If we look left, we can see that we have a structure around the $13,000 area, which is also a very strong psychological level. So what we want to be doing is to place our take profit target as between the $12,000 area and the between the $13,000 area and the $13,200 area as our take profit target for the US tech. So let's see what's going to happen during the New York session today, and then I hope we'll be on standby to take advantage of that move when it finally happens. So the next pair we are going to be looking at, sorry, if you have questions, feel free to drop it in the comment section. Okay, so the next pair we are going to be looking at, I have EURUSD, GPUSD, USD, JPY, and the gold, then the silver to talk today. But Ashitaka wants us to do AUDUSD, so I'll just bring this up so that we can look at the AUDUSD if we have any setup that we could be taking advantage of for this week. So right now, let's see what we have here. Let's go to the daily time frame, and on the daily time frame, what do we have? Well, the first thing you will observe here on the daily time frame, it's very, very evident that price has been on a very strong bearish momentum since the month of March of this year, and we can see that after connecting the series of lower highs resulting into, I have two bearish trend line here. I have the major trend line at this point, which is a thick one, and then I have a temporary bearish trend line, which is the dotted black line. Now we can see how price has consistently respected that bearish trend line, resulting into lower highs and lower lows like this. But one thing we want to observe here is this. If we look at what has been happening since the month of July, we can see that, first of all, we can see that this, look at the expansion here. So look at the expansion of this bearish impulse leg here. Look at it. Look at how huge it is. And then if you compare it with what we have here, you can see that it has diminished, it has reduced. That means the selling momentum is reducing with time. And then if we compare this one with this one here, you can see that it has further reduced into something like this, hereby confirming that the bearish momentum appears to be stalling at this point in time. So what do we want to be doing? That resulted into identifying this area, the 0.66800 level, as a demand zone. And why is that? Let's zoom in and see what is happening. If we look at the demand zone here, what did we see? We see that price, the first time price came into this demand zone in the month of July, we saw multiple rejections by the buyers, which pushed price to as far as the 0.7100 level, you can see. And then we saw a retracement back into that level. So as soon as price came back again into the demand zone during the course of last week trading session, we also saw multiple rejection of that level, which led into this engulfing bullish candle and then during the later part of last week trading session. And this engulfing candle push price into the key level I was able to identify at the 0.68500 area. And if you look at how important that level is, go back into the past, we can see how this level has been a major determinant of price action. The first one we saw in the month of May, where this area became a demand niche. Then in the month of June, it was a demand zone as well. Then we saw multiple rejection of this level before we saw the breakdown of the level, and then a retest became a supply zone. We saw a breakout again. We saw multiple rejection of this level again. So it's more or less a very strong demand structure for participants in this market. So there is a likelihood that during this week we could be having a breakout of this key level in such a way that price breaks out that key level, and also you can see it breaks out that bearish trend line as well. Remember, we don't want to get too excited when we cite such breakouts like this, because this breakout could actually turn out to be a false one. So we want to be patient enough to wait for price to give us further confirmation, which is likely going to come in the form of a retest of the 0.68500 level, or probably the retest of this bearish trend line, after which we look out for patterns on lower time frame to join the rally to the upside. So on the AUDUSD for this week, we want to be looking forward to bullish momentum here as long as price remains right above the 0.68500 level. So that is the perspective we see here on the daily time frame. So what we want to be doing next is to scale down to a much lower time frame, where we want to see if we already have structures that is supporting this bullish momentum. And as well, we want to see how participants in this market has been relating to this level since the beginning of this week. Now, in order to do that, we want to scale down to the 1 hour time frame. And on the 1 hour time frame, what do we have here? Now, if we scale down to the 1 hour time frame, we can see that as soon as price got into the key level, the first thing I want to do is readjust this key level so that we can see it. So let me bring out, okay, we have a $320. So we have a 68500. Where is it? Okay, somewhere around here. 68500. Yeah. Okay. So we have it right around this area. So that's where our key level is. Now, one thing you will observe here, the first thing you observe here, during the course of last week trading session, we saw this impulsive move to the upside. Then as soon as price got into the 0.68750 area, we've witnessed a consolidation phase, giving us a clue into the indecision in this market. So participants are actually waiting for a signal to push price to whatever direction it's going. And if we look at how the market opened this week, the market opened at 0.68200 this week, and then we can see our price. We saw that it's opened here. It went to the 0.68500 level area with multiple rejection of that level, giving us a clue into the strength of the sellers at this point. Then price came back down into where it started this week. Then we saw this engulfing candle taking price out of that structure. That means it took out all the selling positions we have here around the 0.68500 area to the upside at this point, giving us a signal that there is a bullish momentum evolving behind the scenes. So what we want to be doing right now, especially for those who would miss this move, if you had missed the breakout of the structure, then what we want to be doing here is to remain patient to wait for price action to give us further confirmation or give us second opportunity to join the rally. And the second opportunity will likely come in the form of a retest of the 0.68500 level, which falls within the structure of the consolidation phase, and also the bearish trend line we identified on the daily time frame, after which we look out for patterns on lower time frame to join the rally to the upside. So this is how we want to be trading the AUDUSD. I want to continue to see price right above the 0.68500 level for this week to be on a bullish momentum on the AUDUSD. And if price breaks below the 0.68500 level, I want to be waiting out to see if probably this turned out to be a double top structure, which is a reversal pattern that is sending price going to the downside. So if that happens, that is, I see, hold on a second, I see a breakdown of the 0.68500 level. That is price, hold on, what's happening here? Okay, I see a breakdown of the 0.68500 level. This could probably be a retracement of the previous impulse leg, which we identified here. Remember, we had this impulse leg here. So this could likely be a retracement where we'll be looking forward to buy an opportunity from this point. But that has not happened. But based on the current structure we have here, that we have a breakout of the 0.68500 area, let us hold on to a bullish perspective here. So what we are waiting for in the New York session is a retest of structure with patterns to support a trend continuation to the upside here. So let's see how price action plays out during the New York session today. And if you have questions regarding my discussion on the AUDUSD so far, feel free to drop your inquiries in the comment section. And I hope Ashitaka is still in the house. Okay, who wanted somebody? Who was it that asked for AUDA? Okay, Steamroller. Okay, if you're still in the house, let me know if you have a better understanding of what I just explained, so that we can move on to the next pair. Scalping Boy, okay, you're welcome. Mauha, good morning to you. Well, okay. All right. Any question? Okay, thank you for that confirmation, Steamroller. So I guess I would have to move on to the next pair. So the next pair we are going to be looking at today is going to be, let's take the EURUSD for instance, or should we take the EURUSD or the GBPUSD? I'm not sure which is preferable for the majority in the house here. So let's take the EURUSD. Let's take the EURUSD. I already have a position running on the EURUSD, but let's quickly see how I got to those points on the market. So right now, we want to go to the daily time frame. Let's see what's happening on the daily time frame, after which we go down to see how we intend to trade the EURUSD. So now on the daily time frame, we have a similar structure which we had on the AUDUSD I explained earlier. We are on a very strong bearish momentum since the beginning of the year, and we were able to identify this bearish trend line after connecting the series of lower height. And what do we have? We have the structure right now, and we can see that the bearish momentum here too has been reducing. We saw the bearish momentum here the last time price touched the bearish trend line here. We saw this one. If we compare that with this one, we can see it's almost the same thing. And then if we look at what happened in the month of August, we can see that this impulsive move appeared to have diminished. As you can see, as soon as price got into the 0.98500 area, we started seeing multiple rejection of this level to emphasize the strength of the buyers at this point in the market. Now, hold on a second. Let's delete this. Okay. So now that we've seen that the 0.98500 area has been a major, I want to zoom in. Okay, we can see that this 0.98500 area has been a buying niche for participants in these markets, which is evident with the multiple rejection of this level. We can see in the month of July as well, we saw a sharp rejection of that area. So because of this, I was able to identify that area as my new demand zone going forward. Now, another thing we need to also take into consideration is to how cheap the euro is right now. This is the lowest point the euro has been in the last 20 years. If we go to the monthly time frame here, look at the monthly time frame, we can see the last time price came into the 0.98500 area was in, let's see, was in 2002. That's 20 years, exactly 20 years from now, and September 2002, exactly 20 years from that. And you can see it's very, very cheap at this point in time. And this could likely be attractive to the participants in this market to buy the euro against the USD. So because of this and because of the multiple rejection of this level, we want to be looking for buying opportunities on the euro USD this week. Now, in addition to identifying that demand zone, I was able to identify the 1.0100 level as my major key level for this week. And if we look in the past, you can see why this is. Look at what happened here. We can see how this area has been a major determinant of price action. We saw a selling momentum here. And as soon as price broke this level, oh, sorry about that. Sorry about that. So we saw since the breakout of this key level at 1.0100 level, we saw our price rejected this area multiple times before we saw the breakdown happen in the month of August. Then price came back again to reject this area. So one thing I'm looking forward to this week is a breakout of that structure to give me a confirmation to join a bullish momentum here. So now, like I said, what I'm looking forward to right now is this. I want to see price break out of the 1.0100 level. And you can see it also shares a confluence with the bearish trend line we were able to identify on the daily time frame here. Remember, we identified this bearish trend line, and you can see it also shares a confluence with the key level at the 1.0100 level. So what I want to be saying is a breakout retest of the structure to give me a confirmation to join the rally on the euro USD. So now what we want to be doing next is to see how participants has been relating with this level since the beginning of the week, after which we want to use that as a yardstick to take advantage of any momentum here. So now if we scale down to the 1 hour time frame, the first thing I was able to observe here on the 1 hour time frame is this bullish trend line that I was able to draw with this purple line. Now you can see our price has consistently found higher highs and higher lows since last week, and this move is right from the demand zone we identified on the daily time frame. So that means the buyers are very strong at this point in the market. So we saw price respect that bullish trend line, which led into the breakout of that structure here. So I want to see this bullish trend line as my yardstick for the week. So in addition with the key level we identified at the 1.0100 level, we want to add this bullish trend line to be our guide. So I want to see price do multiple rejection of this level to join the rally to the upside. So that is one. We have the bullish trend line. We have the key level. Hold on a second. Okay. So we have the key level at 1.0100 level. We want to see price. If price continue to remain right above this level, we want to be comfortable in our bullish, in our buy position. So now, during the early hours of today, what happened? How has participants in this market related with this area? That is the key level here. Look at where price started this week. Price started at the 1.0100 level. Price came back into the 1.00500 area and has been caught within a consolidation phase, which led into the breakout of that structure. So right now, we already have a bullish signal. I actually took advantage of this move. I saw multiple rejection here on the lower time frame. I took advantage of this move to the upside, and right now I'm in profit already. But one thing you want to be doing here, especially for those who have missed this trade, one thing you want to be doing is to wait for price to give us further confirmation in the form of a retest of the structure. So the retest could either come in form of a retest of this bearish trend line that we identified on the daily time frame, or this bullish trend line we identified here on the 1 hour time frame, or probably the resistance or the key level at the 1.0100 area where we want to be taking advantage of a trend continuation to the upside. So it's quite a very simple setup we have here on the Euro USD. So I hope you will be on standby to take advantage of that move when it finally happens. Now, the next question you might want to be asking right now is this: what if price does not come to the trend line? What if price does not come into the key level at the 1.0100 level, or probably the bearish trend line we identify on the daily time frame? Well, if price does not come into this level, what we want to be looking out for is this: we already have a bullish trend, we already have a impulsive move. Then we want to be waiting to see how far this retracement phase is going to end. Is it going to end at the 1.01300, or is it going to end around this area? The only way we can know is if we see reversal patterns on lower time frame, then we could actually join at a breakout retest of structure on our lower time frame. So if price does not come to plunge to as far as the key level here, what we want to be waiting for is a reversal pattern. We want to wait for that retracement phase to end, then we want to be joining the rally to the upside. So that's how we intend to trade the Euro USD for this week. So let's see how price action plays out during the New York session today, and tomorrow we'll come back here to review it and see how we can do follow-up details on that. If you have any question regarding what I've just explained so far, feel free to drop a word or two in the comment section, and let's see how we can be of help in that regard. It's already 11:59 here. I have no more time. I thought I'll be able to take as many pairs as possible today, but unfortunately we are not able to do so. Okay, what's happening in the chat and the activities? How are you and the activities? Well, 464, I'm not sure I understand your statement. You might want to rephrase that statement so that I can get a better understanding of what you are talking about. So Ismail, hello, how are you? Sejux82, good morning to you. Let's see. Can I run through one more pair again on this one, or we call it a day? Oh, we have Ashitaka asked after ETHUSD. So let me see if I can do Ethereum. Let's see if I can do Ethereum before we call it a day. So let me see if I can run through it quickly. Okay. So what do we have on the daily time frame? What do we have on Ethereum on the daily time frame? Well, we've been on a very strong bearish momentum, it's obvious. And if we bring out our line chart here and connect the series of lower highs, we can see that we have a resultant bearish trend line to guide our actions going forward. So we can see we have this. So that's the first thing we want to we have identified here on the Ethereum. So now the next thing we want to be doing here is to identify a key level that will be guiding our actions going forward. So if we look at the current structure we have here, it appears somewhere around the $2,000 level appears to be a very strong significant level. I will show you why that is in a moment, but let me draw the line first so that we can see what I'm talking about. So we have somewhere around the $2,000 level. Let's see. Okay, we have somewhere around here. So let's label this area for the sake of clarity so that we can have a visual understanding of what we are talking about here. So we have the 2000 level. We have the key level at the 2000 level mark. So, and that's also a very, very strong psychological level considering the round figure of that price. So let's go back to our candle chart. Now, the reason why we have the 2000 level as a very strong key level is simply because we can see how this level has been a major determinant of price action in the past. We can see how we had rejections here in the month of February. Then we saw a breakdown retest of structure around here in the month of May stroke the month of June. Then we saw price come back down. Then we saw price come back into the $2,000 area in the month of August with a rejection of that level. So we can see that this level has been a major determinant of price action in the past. And one thing from a technical perspective we want to be doing is to continue to sell the ETH if price continues to remain below the $2,000 mark. So if I actually want to be buying the Ethereum right now, I want to see price break out of that structure in such a way that I see this breakout of the key level, which also shares a confluence with the bearish trend line. And remember, we are not getting too excited at the sight of that signal. We want to wait for price action to give us further confirmation in the form of a retest of structure. This could be on your lower time frame, where we look out for patterns to join the rally to the upside. But if price continue to remain right below the $2,000 area, that is, I continue to see multiple rejection of my bearish trend line or the key level here, something like this, probably double top structure or multiple rejection where consolidation phases happens around this area, then I want to be remaining in my selling position here. So that is how I intend to trade the Ethereum on a long-term perspective. However, if you are someone that wants to take short-term trades on this one, let's scale down to the 1 hour time frame and let's see how price action has been. Then we can use that as a yardstick to trade the ETH this week. Okay, I think I will have to use the 4 hours time frame. First, let's look at the 4 hours time frame. So what do we have here on the 4 hours time frame? Well, the first thing I want to do here is we can see that price has been on a bullish scenario since so what I want to do here is to have this major bullish trend line. I want to make this black. Okay, then we have a temporary one which I can see around here. We have a temporary one here. Okay, then hold on a second. Where is my rectangle? Okay, so we have a structure around here as well, around the $1,640 area, which I want to give a different color. So we have 1,640, I think, yeah, 1,640 level. I hope okay, I think that's good. So we have that area. So this is what I'm seeing here right now. So we have a bullish trend line on a lower time frame. That's one. Then the next thing we observe here is that we have a demand niche here. We have a demand niche. As you can see, price respected this area to push price to the upside. So we have a demand zone here. Let's place this right within the box. So we have a demand zone here. What did we see? The last time price came into the key level at the $2,000 area, we can see how price moved right into the demand structure here. Then we saw multiple rejection of this demand structure before we saw the breakout of that structure here, giving us a signal of a bullish momentum on a short-term perspective. Remember, it's a short-term trade. So we see a breakout of the structure, and whenever we cite a breakout of a structure like this, we expect price to come back to give us further confirmation in the form of a retest of structure, where we look out for patterns on lower time frame to join the rally to the upside. So what I'll be doing here right now, if how are you, is to wait for further confirmation. That is, if you had missed the breakout of the $1,640 level area here, hold on a second, if you had missed this move around this point, then the only thing you could be doing right now is to wait for price to give us further confirmation in the form of a retest of this level before we want to be joining the rally to the upside. And if that does not happen, hold on a second, I will show you. If that does not happen, then a breakout of the $1,800 area here, you can see we had multiple rejection of this level. You can always munch my screen so that you can use that as a reference point whenever you want to make your individual decision. It's easier like that. So if price does not come to this area to reject and move to the upside, we want to wait for price to break out of this structure then a retest will give us further confirmation to join the rally to the upside. So if you are taking any buying opportunity from this point, what we want to be doing, our take profit target should be somewhere around the $2,000 area and the $2,100 area. And the reason why that is simply because we have a structure at around that key level, which is very, very strong. We can see how participants in this market rejected this area. We saw selling momentum from this point, giving us a clue into the strength of the sellers at this juncture in this market. So the reason why we are having our take profit target within this area is simply because we want to see how price action is going to relate to this level. Are we going to be having a rejection of that level? That is, hold on. Are we going to be having a multiple rejection of that level to send price going to the downside, or are we going to be having a breakout of that structure to move price to the upside here? So if you're buying this, put your take profit target around this area, at least for the meantime. Then whatever happens here will now decide if we are going to be going bullish or bearish on this one. So that is that on the Ethereum. I hope I was clear enough, Ashitaka, and I hope you're still in the house to see the explanation. Okay, all right, you're welcome, Ashitaka. And okay, so I'm sorry, Nagnath, I don't speak Hindi, I only speak English. I'm so sorry about that. All right, I'm so sorry, I'm out of time right now. I'm waiting for Ashitaka to give me that confirmation. Oh, great, thank you for that confirmation. So that's how we want to trade the Ethereum. So let's quickly do a recap of what we talked about so far today before I call it a day. So the first pair we looked at today is the US oil, and what we were expecting on the US oil, hold on a second, we were expecting a bullish momentum on the US oil. And the reason why that is simply because of the setup we were able to identify on the 1 hour time frame, and we can see price action is right above the key level at $85 mark, and we were able to identify this bullish trend line with the purple line here. So we have two scenarios to work with here. The first scenario is this: we want to see how price is going to relate with this resistant level of the descending channel we identify on the 4 hours time frame. We want to see how price is going to relate with this level, and how are we going to see that? Is price going to break out of the structure, where a retest of structure will give us further confirmation to a trend continuation to the upside, or are we going to be having multiple rejection of this level, which might result into a reversal pattern that will lead to the breakdown of this bullish trend line, where a retest of structure will give us a confirmation of a trend continuation to the downside. So in order to make our job easier during the New York session today, I was able to identify two parameters to guide our action. The first one is the bullish trend line here, as we want to see price right above this bullish trend line to be comfortable in our buying position. And if price breaks down that bullish trend line, we want to be looking for selling opportunity at a breakdown retest of that structure. Now, the second parameter we're going to be using as a yardstick for the week is the $86.50 level. And you can see how this level has been a major determinant of price action in the past. You can see what happened here. We can see what happened at this point also. And one thing I'm looking forward to is price coming back to do a retest of this level, and which also shares a confluence with the bullish trend line, where a patterns on lower time frame that supports a trend continuation to the upside, how we'll be joining the rally to the upside. However, if a breakdown of that key level happens, which also shares a confluence with the bullish trend line, then that is a signal. And remember, we don't want to get too excited at the sight of a signal, as we want to wait for price action to give us further confirmation with the retest of structure to join the rally to the downside. So if we have a breakdown of that bullish trend, and that means price action wants to continue to respect this descending channel. So our take profit target will be right at the support level of this descending channel, which falls around the $82 area and the $80 mark. Now we moved on to talk about the US tech, where we are also going to be patient enough to wait for price action to give us further confirmation of where price is going to be heading this week. Now, the first thing we did here, obviously price has been on a very strong bearish momentum on the US tech, and one thing we saw here since the beginning of the week was that price was caught within a consolidation phase, giving us a clue into the indecision in this market. So what we are waiting for is a signal. Are we going to be having a breakout of the bearish trend line we identified on the daily time frame? That is a breakout of the channel also, which shares the confluence with the bearish trend line. If that happens, we want to wait for confirmations to give us that leverage to join the rally to the upside. Now, if price breaks below this line, that is, price breaks below this line, that is, breaks below the channel here, we want to see that as a bearish signal. And if that happens, we don't want to be excited. We want to wait for price to give us further confirmation in the form of a retest of structure to join the decline to the downside. Now, to make our job easier so that we can identify these opportunities when they finally happen, we have two parameters here. The first one is the key level we identified at the $12,600 mark. Now, if price continues to stay right above this key level, we want to remain comfortable in our bullish momentum. And if price breaks down that level, then we want to be staying in a selling position for the week on the US tech. Now, we went on to talk about the AUDUSD, which was brought on by Steamroller. And what did we see here on the AUDUSD? We actually on a very strong bearish momentum. However, we can see since last week trading session, we saw price reject the demand zone here and price continue to the upside. And after that, we saw a consolidation phase right below the 0.68500 level, which I said is going to be our yardstick for the week. And since the beginning of the week, you can see our price have been caught within a consolidation phase right below the 0.68500 area and the 0.68210 area. Not until sometime in the early hours of today, we saw that breakout of that 0.68500 level, which appears to be the signal we are waiting for to give us a bullish perspective on the AUDUSD. Now, if you had missed this move to the upside from this point, then we might likely have an opportunity to join the rally when a retest of structure happens. So if we have a retest of the 0.68500 area, or the retest of the bearish trend line, or the structure where the consolidation phase happened this week, then we want to be looking out for patterns on lower time frame to join the rally to the upside. So what this simply means is that this key level gives us a clue, give us a confidence that if we are right, if price is right above the 0.68500 area, we want to be comfortable in our buying position. And if price breaks below the 0.68500 area, we might likely see a short-term bearish momentum in such a way that price comes back into the neckline here of the 0.67500 area, where we might be looking for patterns to join the rally to the upside. So in the next 24 hours, let's see how price action is going to relate with the structure to determine how we are going to be moving. Now, I think the last pair we talked about today is the okay, we talked about the EURUSD as well. I never knew we talked about the, so I told you I'm already in the trade on the EURUSD, where I'm still in profit at this point in time after citing the breakout of the 1.0100 level, which is going to be our key level for this week. Now, for the EURUSD, and to make our job easier, I was able to identify two parameters that will be guiding our action for this week. And the first parameter is this bullish trend line, which is a purple line you can see on your screen right now. And then we have the key level at the 1.0100 level. So what I want to be saying this week is a breakout of that structure. Remember, price was caught within a consolidation phase since the beginning of the week. We saw the breakout of the bearish trend line we identified on the daily time frame, which also shares a confluence with the key level at the 1.0100 level. Then we want to see, for those who had missed this move, I think we could be having another opportunity in such a way that price comes back to do a retest of both the bearish trend line, the key level at 1.0100 level, and probably also the bullish trend line we identified here, after which we look out for patterns on lower time frame to join the rally to the upside. And like I told you, I think I remember saying that if price does not come back into the key level here, the most important thing we want to be looking forward to on lower time frame is to see when this, hold on, okay, we want to see when this retracement phase is going to end. And the only way we will know this retracement phase has ended is if we cite a reversal pattern on lower time frame. So it could be your double bottom structure, your inverse head and shoulder pattern, or your falling wedge, or whatever it is that happens, a breakout retest of structure. Then you give you a confirmation that the retracement phase has ended. So this is how we intend to trade the EURUSD. And if at any point in time during the New York session today we witness a breakdown of this bullish trend line and the bearish and the key level at 1.0100 level, then that is a likelihood that sellers are still very strong at this point in the market, and a confirmation, a retest of 1.0100 level could give us a confirmation of a short-term trend continuation, which if I were you, if you are taking that counter trend trade, the demand zone around the 0.99500 area could be a take profit target area for a selling momentum, which will be dovetailed into somewhere around the 160 pips to catch there. Then we close the day with the Ethereum, which Ashitaka told us to look at. And what did we have here on the Ethereum? Well, on the higher time frame, we observed that we are on a strong bearish momentum on the higher time frame, and we were able to identify this resultant bearish trend line, which is the major bearish trend line that has been guiding price action since the beginning of the year. And at the same time, we were able to identify a key level at the $2,000 mark, which we want to be using as our yardstick going forward. That is from a long-term perspective. So we want to be seeing price come back into this key level, probably break out the bearish trend line to give us a signal of a bullish momentum, or we could be having a multiple rejection of that area to be sending price going to the downside. So when we scale down to a much lower time frame in the hopes of looking for short-term opportunities on this one, what did we see here? On the 4 hours time frame, we identified the demand zone, then we identified this temporary bullish trend line. And one thing I said was that since we cited a breakout of this neckline at $1,640 area, that is a signal of a bullish momentum on a short-term perspective. If you had actually missed that move, I said you should be patient enough to wait for price action to come back into the structure to give us further confirmation to join the rally to the upside. And now there is a caveat to this, that is, if price does not come back into this level, that is, if price does not come back into this level at all, then a breakout of the $1,795 area, and I think I called it $1,800 area because of the psychological nature of that price. Then if we see a breakout of that structure, then we want to be looking forward to a retest of the structure to give us a confirmation to join the rally to the upside. And if we are joining it from that point or any point here, allow our take profit target to be around the $2,000 area and the $2,100 area. And the reason why that is simply because of the key level we identified here. And if we look into the past, we can see how that area has been a selling niche for participants in this market, and also that area also shares a confluence with the bearish trend line we identified on the daily time frame. So we want to see how price action is going to relate with that level. If we are going to be having, hold on a second, if we are going to be having multiple rejection of this area to send price going to the downside, or we could be having a breakout of that structure, which will, a retest of structure will give us further confirmation to join the rally to the upside. So this is our perspective here on for today, and we were able to treat the US oil, the US tech, the AUDUSD, and the EURUSD, and we topped it up with the Ethereum for the day. So we had like 5 pairs to look out for during the New York session today, and I am very sure we are well equipped to be able to take advantage of any potential opportunity that might be coming up, because I was able to share the different scenarios that could be happening on each pairs. So let's be on standby to be able to take advantage of that move when it finally happens. Then remember, do not get too excited at the sight of a signal, as we want to wait for price action to give us further confirmation in the form of a retest of whatever structure you have identified to take advantage of that momentum. So on this note, I want to call it a day. I want to wish you best of luck during the New York session today, and I also want to appreciate every one of you. It has been a pleasure being around with you guys. So I look forward to seeing you tomorrow, same time, 10 a.m. UTC, 11 a.m. West African time, so that we can come here again to look at the market and decide what our moves are going to be against New York session tomorrow. So on this note, I wish you best of luck, and bye-bye.